So my guest today is Kelley Shannon, Executive Director of Freedom of Information Foundation of Texas. So Kelley, tell us what your group does.
Sure. Well, we are a nonprofit organization. We've been around since the late 70s, and we are all about promoting open government, the people's
Mhm,
right to know about their
mhm,
government, as well as First Amendment rights of free speech and free press. And we see those as all going hand in hand, because if you don't have the information you
mhm.
need, you can't logically and in an informed way speak out about your government and exercise your First Amendment rights.
So the topic we're going to talk about today is they're called open record requests. So what are we talking about when we say we're going to file an open records request? What does that mean?
When you put in a written request for information, that's considered a request under the Public Information Act. The difference being if you're just informally asking somebody verbally for
Mhm.
information, it doesn't trigger the act. But
Okay.
when you write it, doesn't have to be any magic words,
Mhm.
but when you write your request, that triggers the Public Information Act. And that means that if a government is going to hopefully promptly release the information, great, that's what they ought to be doing. But if they are going to try to deny the information, it triggers some deadlines where they have to then, in most cases, ask permission of the Texas Attorney General. Can we withhold this? They don't get to just automatically withhold most information. And that's how Texas is different from many other states.
So what are some best practices people can use when making these open records requests?
One of the very leading tips is be specific. You're very specific on the front end.
Okay.
It just helps in that communication. It also helps you not be bombarded, you as the requester, whether you're a news reporter or a member of the public or whatever, makes you not be bombarded with gobs of records that you don't really want or need, and possibly even incur some costs that you weren't anticipating. Be very polite and professional, and realize, know your rights, but realize that that government employee you're dealing with, many times that government employee is somebody who understands your rights and really values their role in being the custodian of the people's information. So many government officials understand it's the people's information, we're supposed to hand it over. They're not necessarily there for a fight with you, right? And
Mm,
so be polite, be professional. If you are looking for data that is voluminous, or there's a lot of numbers involved, and it's kept
mm.
in a spreadsheet, or suspect that it's kept in a spreadsheet, ask for it in the way that you want it, so that that government official doesn't just convert it all to a PDF and hand it to you in that format. Ask for it in the spreadsheet format.
Yeah.
In our state, there are many, many governments who have these online portals, and they
Mhm.
try to get everybody to put their information requests online through these portals. You can use that, but it's your option. You do not have to use an online portal. You can email it, you can mail it through regular mail, you can just hand deliver your written request, because not everybody has access to the internet. Let's don't forget that, right?
Mhm.
And some people are just more comfortable putting it in their own words. So the
Mm.
online portals are fine. They may be more convenient, but you do not have to use the online portal.
How do we fare to other states with regards to government transparency, and what types of barriers do we see in Texas to open records requests?
Texas fares pretty well nationally. In fact, among the top states. That's because of what I mentioned earlier, is the requester doesn't have the burden of trying to pry information from the government. You just request it, and the government's supposed to hand it over, unless
Mm.
that governmental entity is going to try to withhold it. Then the burden is on them to ask the attorney general essentially for permission. So they ask for an attorney general ruling. In
Mhm.
some states, it's not that way.
Mm.
Some states, a governmental entity can just deny you the information, and then you, as the requester, have to start the appeals
Wow.
process. And another way we stack up real well with other states is you can't be sued by a governmental entity in this state for requesting information. We have fought that. There every now and then that somebody tries to say, oh, well, we want to make it so that a government can sue somebody who we think is just messing with us or abusing the system or being a vexatious requester or requesting too many records. No, we don't have that in our state. Now, we
Mm.
have dealt with pieces of the law that that address vexatious requesters and someone who's abusing the law. We try to put some mechanisms in there where that individual might be able to be kind of slowed down, right, in what they're doing. But we don't have a situation where, say, a local school board can just sue a requester in court, and then all of a sudden you find yourself in a civil suit, you need an attorney, et cetera. We don't have that in Texas.
Okay.
Other states do. It's a scary proposition. A lot of problems occurred with open government in our state with the COVID-19 pandemic. And what happened is many government offices said, okay, our doors are physically closed. And because our doors are physically closed, we, under this old outdated, we consider it outdated Attorney General ruling, we don't have to be entertaining Public Information Act requests on these days. Or we're working remotely. All of our employees are getting paid taxpayer dollars. They're working from home, doing their jobs. They could access records, remotely, electronically if they want. But they get to say, because of this outdated ruling, if we're working remotely and on skeleton crew, and they cite skeleton crew, then we don't have to count that day as a Public Information Act request day, right? So that happened across the state, so many different governments.
You saw that in Fort Worth.
Yeah, Fort Worth was one of the worst offenders on that.
Was it the city in particular or Tarrant County?
City is the one I know most about,
Okay.
because we were having some surveys done. One of our interns was checking around and looking at all the different major governments around the state. And the city of Fort Worth was one of them that was still doing it even up to February of this year. So you can see that's like almost a year of shutdown.
It felt like a year of meetings. Yeah. So your group, what are you doing to try to improve transparency? What are some areas that we could still improve as a state and at every level of government with regards to open government?
One thing that we need to do, and this did not pass in the recent legislative session, is address that office closure or skeleton crew day. That was a bill by one of your local representatives, Representative Giovanni Capriglione, AB 1416. And it passed the House, as did a number of other open government measures. His bill passed the House, but the Senate did not pass it. And the Senate also didn't pass a number of other open government measures. So we had a lot of good activity in the House, not so much in the Senate. And that's one that really does need to be clarified. And we also keep asking the Texas Attorney General's office to update their guidance to governments, because we feel like this guidance was written way long ago in a time when this remote working wasn't even envisioned, right? So we need things updated so that our laws and the interpretation of the law keeps up with the time.
One final question. If folks want to sharpen their skills on this topic, can they use your website as a resource, or where would you send them?
Yeah, sure. Our website, we do have a lot of resources. And if you go to foift.org and look across the top are some tabs, go to the resources tab, and the drop down there has a bunch of resources. There's templates like to help you write a letter for the Texas Public Information Act request. You don't have to use those words, but that template is, one way to word it.
Well, we would encourage people while they're there to also click the donate button, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, we definitely depend on donations. Thank you.
It's important work. We appreciate your time, and we encourage folks to visit your website. Kelley, we can't thank you enough for your time and your insights.
Yes, thanks for having me. It's good talking with you, and good luck with your endeavors.
Thank you. We'll have you back sometime.
All right, take care.